Hi boys and girls, so I'm just going to go to the second half of the PDF that I gave you yesterday, okay? So we're going to talk about different types of houses. So what kind of house do you live in? I'll ask you that at the end of this. So this is a cottage. A cottage is an old house. I live in an old house like this, except my one is green. I've painted it green. So it's an old house that's been there a long time, and you have to have really good insulation because they can be quite cold. So that is a cottage, and they're normally in the countryside, but sometimes you see old cottages in the middle of cities or towns, and they were probably there before the towns were built. Okay, now we talked about the roof yesterday. The roof, there's a slate roof on the top of the house, and it keeps out the rain and the snow. And here's a chimney. What is a chimney for? Long ago, like, cottages would have had fires, and the smoke had to go somewhere, so they built a hollow all the way up through the house, and the smoke could go out the chimney. Now, not all houses have fires anymore, but a lot of houses still have chimneys. I have a stove, and I light my fire every day at the moment, and I have the smoke goes out the chimney, so it's at the top of the house. So here's a bungalow. A bungalow is a house that has only one floor with no stairs. Now, there can be big bungalows or small bungalows. So everything is on the ground floor, so you never have to go up the stairs. You still have the kitchen, the sitting room, the bedroom, the bathroom, and you might even have more than that, but it's only one floor, okay? Do any of you live in a bungalow? So we have a caravan. Now this is a mobile home. It's different to a caravan. It's a mobile home. So a mobile home is a house that you can attach to your car, or this one is in the car, and you can drive around. So sometimes people live in them because they move around a lot, and sometimes have them for holidays. So you can go to different places on your holidays. They still have a kitchen, a bed, they still have a bathroom, but there's just not as much space, and some are bigger than others. Some might have 2 rooms and some might only have 1 room. So a castle. I heard people's descriptions for their teachers about their dream house, and some people said they'd like to live in a castle. Castles were big, massive houses. They were built years and years ago, but more than one family would live in a castle. Sometimes it's nearly a full town. So lots and lots and lots of families would live in the castle. And sometimes it was kings and queens that lived in there, and princes and princesses, but not always. Sometimes it was a way to protect the people who lived in the area, because when you're inside the castle, you could stop others from getting into it, so you could protect the people. So there is a castle. There's turrets. Look at these are turrets, and there's the main building, and they have high walls to protect the people inside it. So this is a detached house. A detached house is a 2-story house that's not stuck to another house. It's not in a row of houses. So if you look at this house, there's nothing here and there's nothing here. And they have a lovely garden. This is out in the middle of the countryside. This is a 2-story house. So there's a ground floor and a first floor. So they would have a stairs. Okay, so they would have a stairs going up to the second floor. Now, we don't know if there's washrooms are on the bottom floor or washrooms are on the top floor, but normally the kitchen and the sitting room, and there'd be a bathroom on the bottom floor, and then upstairs would be bedrooms and maybe another bathroom, but it can be different in every house. So then the opposite is a terraced house. So look at, here's a house. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4 houses. Now this is the back of the houses because there's no doors. So the front door will be at the other side, which is a bit weird. So there's no back door here, which I think is weird. So a lot of houses would have a front door and a back door. So a terraced house is a house that's stuck to another house, okay? So a terrace, so look at this one house, and look at everyone. And these are 2-story. They don't always have to be 2-story, but these are 2-story terraced houses. All right, and they're normally in villages or cities or towns. Now this is a very special house. It's a windmill house. I have never seen a windmill house. So look at it. It's a 2-story house. And they obviously get their electricity from the windmill. So the windmill goes round and round and round and collects electricity. I like the stone wall on this house. I'm not sure if I'd like to live in a windmill house. I wonder, is it noisy? So this is a farmhouse. So farmhouses are generally old houses that were built long ago on farms. They're like the cottage. And look, they're made of brick and they're sturdy because they were used to bad weather and a lot of hardship. So they're out in the countryside. Now this is a 2-story farmed house. And look at, there's a little extension. An extension is when you build another part onto a house. So there's 2 stories. And look at, there's a satellite. So they obviously have a television. They have their front door. And how many windows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's a slate roof and the chimneys. And look at, there's a gate maybe into the farm. So flats. You find flats and apartments in towns and cities where there's not a lot of space, so they can't build the houses beside each other, so they build them up into the sky. So they're apartments. So unfortunately these people wouldn't have gardens, so when they have to go into the building and go up a lift and then go into a corridor and go to their front door, which is on the corridor, into their apartment. Now they can be very big and very small, and they would still have your kitchen and your sitting room and your bedroom and your bathroom. And some can be very fancy. So an apartment is generally to save space for builders in cities and towns. And some of them can be lovely. It's a lighthouse. So sometimes they used to have someone to take care of the lighthouse. And my uncle used to live, and aunt and cousins used to live in the lighthouse in Duncannon, and it was really cool. Now they had a house beside the lighthouse, but sometimes the lighthouse keeper would live in the lighthouse, so they would still have their kitchen and their sitting room and their bathroom, but they would live in a lighthouse. So there's a tent. Normally we have tents for our holidays, but sometimes people live in tents all year round. But it would be very hard in bad weather. Like if you were today, so cold today, you wouldn't want to be in a tent. But I know adventurers who go up in the mountains, they have special tents that keep out the cold. Okay, so which house do you live in? Are you in a bungalow, a cottage, a terraced house, an apartment, what else did we have? A farmhouse. I suppose mine is more of a farmhouse because I live in my granny's house. It's on a farm. Do you live in a caravan, a detached house? I don't think anybody lives in a windmill, and I don't think anyone lives in a lighthouse, but you can live in a detached house, okay? I'd love to see a picture, so get your yellow copy and draw a picture of what your house looks like, and draw your family as well. I'd love to see it.